Howdy folks, it's your lovable GM, Jonathan. You're listening to Demon Dayz, an actual play podcast with a focus on fiends and the friends who play them. We are so excited to share our latest episode, but first I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor Arknight, whose props, maps, and minis make our game a delight. They've released a new Kickstarter featuring hardbound support for the 5e starter set Lost Mines of Phandelver. This includes custom maps and minis as well as a new carrying case, which is of great interest to me. Been trying to figure out how to store all my minis, and let's just say it's getting a little frustrating. So go check out their campaign and nab yourself some of the best maps and minis this side of the tabletop. That's ARCKNIGHT. Also want to give a shout out to Gord McAlpin, who did the artwork for our show, as well as KiloWhat, who created some absolutely amazing portraits of our horny heroes. Finally, I want to give a shout out to Michaela Garrison, who edited this week's episode. You can find her over on Insta at Michaela J. Garrison, and her dog Arrow over there as well at Arrow Perro. And now, on with the show.
Friends, fiends, howdy do, and how do you do? When last we spoke, the party set sail on a sky ship, headed for Edgewater. Sail is probably not the best word, but I digress. The party began figuring out the deal with the crew. As we start today's story, they formulated a plan. So pass me the ale. Yes, all of it. And I will tell you more about these Demon Dayz.
I want to try to go looking for Taz. I can't find her for the moment. I want to try to gather everybody kind of very inconspicuously.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm guessing I see Yusuf first.
Yep, you see him first.
I'd probably be hanging over with Stoyle by the bow. Just
Okay.
kinda hanging out. I think Galahad's probably over there as well.
Okay.
Just kind of curled up.
After my dishwashing excursion, I do come back up onto the deck because I had wanted to talk to our boy Horatio. But
Yeah.
if you summon me,
I'll kind of like give you, if you could kind of rise up from the galley, I'll give you a kind of a nod. And I'll kind of head a little bit towards Yusuf. And I guess start with the two of you, and you can tell me when Taz shows back up from her gem lesson.
Based on timing, it's probably about like 10 minutes.
Okay. Scoyle, will you give us a moment?
Absolutely. She gently pets the elk Callahan and kind of does like, oh yeah. And then walks away and walks up to the quarterdeck and starts looking around at the levers, pestering Klekthaw.
What do you got?
So, I've gotten a missive from the old home office asking for an update, and I have a strong feeling based on who contacted me that if this lands in Edgewater, we're going to be met by some force from my family. It could be as small. Again, we operate largely in interlopers, but the message I received back was from Parzival, the youngest of the sisters, but also the resident hunter, the lover of Melanthar, the Rakshasa my father is terrified of. So, I'm wondering if we don't try to convince the ship, the captain, to not land in Edgewater. Perhaps we can see if they can, and I don't know, maybe Taz will have learned something more about operations on the ship so that we can know how long we can stay afloat. Maybe we can talk to Horatio and try to redirect him a bit.
Edgewater seems like a bad idea anyway if they're going to meet with the Dominion.
Well, I think Edgewater seemed like it was just a layover and that he was headed to Skypoint.
Yes, but it's distinctly not in the Dominion. And I think Galatha's tower and I think we can get him to not stop in Edgewater, given his business is not with the Storm Court.
Yusuf, were you able to speak with him on the Dominion at all?
I told him briefly about what happened with the gnomes, and we talked about, speaking more of it. He said the trip was going to take about 13 hours, so I'm going to have a chat with him and see if I can maybe push him to try and deliver this information to Trost instead.
Make no mistake.
I don't think Trost is the right place for this ship either, though.
No.
No,
I'm talking about the technology.
I don't think Trost is the right place for this technology. I don't think either predominant kingdom is the right place for this ship right now. We have bigger fish to fry than some civil war. And I think we could convince Horatio to step back from politics for a little bit and help us. I do. He seems...
Right, I understand that. But the other side of the coin is the people that took me in were just captured by one side of this war, so I now have a vetted interest in it. If the ship is going to take us wherever we want to go, that's fine, but if they're not, and we're going to be on our own, I would rather the ship not go to the Dominion. Especially since if they have the gnomes, they have examples of their technology, and that's going to be bad for trust. Who treated us fairly, for the most part. They let us go, at least.
Galotha would be able to help.
We can at least let her know that in our travels it seems that the Dominion is at least trying to investigate disparate technologies to bolster their war effort. I feel like that's at least a show of good faith on that end.
And we did get into the tower, and we do owe her that.
That's true, yeah.
I'm just saying, if this ship isn't going to stay with us or we with it, I would rather it not go
Certainly.
to Skypoint.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts? Do you agree, disagree?
Wholeheartedly.
It makes sense not to have it go to Skypoint, for sure. I don't think that's wise.
I will fully admit to a bit of petulant perturbation, a little bit of persistent mental chafing, as much as you probably saw the lesser side of my relationship with my father, but I really can't stand the idea that he's not the captain of the ship. I know that that's a little heated, it's a little personal, but there's definitely a world where I would happily install him in the big chair.
Why would he? This is what I don't understand. Everything's a little too peaceful here.
Yeah.
Everyone's a little cloudy. I don't know if it's because they're just dumb or if they're just... I don't know. Everything just seems a little too... I don't know. Like, your dad's not the captain, and he's always been a captain, correct?
Yes. As long as I've known him. Yeah.
There's a Genasi contentedly washing dishes with no aspirations, or she's just... I don't know her, but I can't imagine that's herself, you know? What a waste. Klektha is not a ship's pilot. I think we can all agree. Something's weird. Something's weird, and Horatio, I want to sit down and talk with him more.
I got no sense of deceit from him.
No.
But unusual. I mean, I'm also there's a big locked chest sitting in his quarters, and I do love a secret. So,
well, jumping back to what you said about your father, and I kind of look around. Does he want to be captain? Maybe he doesn't. He doesn't seem like the man you remember. Maybe he's changing, or at least trying to work through things, and he doesn't want the responsibility. As for the rest of the crew, maybe they have found someone they feel comfortable enough to follow, that they don't need to lead.
Yeah.
I'm playing devil... Well,
I'm
playing devil's advocate.
Right.
But
Paladin's got a paladin, I understand. If anything, I'm assuming Drago's running or hiding from something. And this is a purposeful distraction for him. I need him to fucking dad the fuck up. Stop running around playing Tinker Toys. I think some of this is contingent upon perhaps Horatio's willingness to listen to a bit of reason. Speaking the word Melanthar to my father will trigger some amount of a response from him.
I mean, it did when you grabbed him and put a knife to his throat, that's for sure.
Right. But I have a feeling he'll want nothing to do with Edgewater if I posit that I have it on fairly good information that he'll be waiting for us in Edgewater. So that's at least one ally on the other side. And a reasonably good one, I think, but I don't know.
I've seen, but not dealt with, Rakshasas before. I know that they are competent foes, at the very least. What can we expect from this person, this thing, if it's there?
Could be anyone. Kind of classic. He's the family boogeyman, kind of. Parsival is a more forceful hunter for the family. When me showing up and winking and nudging doesn't get the job done. Someone tries to run. Someone neglects a debt. Violates a contract.
I see.
But imagine if, say you were in the army. I mean, it's kind of like this lot a little bit. And you got to ply your trade really more just for the fun and enthusiasm of it. Yeah, so...
He enjoys it.
Cruel, vicious. While the family does try to keep on the up and up, we are demon devils after all.
Yusuf just kind of nods in contemplation and...
I realize that, given the events of the last 10 days, I suppose, that I'm a little irrationally angry, and I don't want to tip shit over just for the sake of tipping it over, but I also don't want to be naive, and I also don't want to necessarily trust things that look too good just because they look too good.
That's fair. Is Taz
Yeah, Taz has arrived
showing up by
by
that?
about this time.
I'm just like silently standing in the circle.
Hey, so there might be a Rakshasa waiting for us in Edgewater, courtesy of Feder and his awesome family, who really just keep getting us into better and better times.
Yeah, well,
What is our aim? Like, what do we want to be doing?
I want to be looking for these other towers.
yeah.
That's what I thought it was. I wanted to make
And-
sure.
Lacey can check in on home, and we can head south, and we can continue kind of our clockwise, counterclock progression around the continent.
But I do think maybe stopping in Trost isn't a bad idea, and reporting back to Golotha and maybe seeing if she has any insights on any other towers.
Daz, do you have any way to get word to her magically?
Not really. I can scry for her, but that's just literally like
A one-way ticket.
listening.
Yeah.
Could we leave a note for her? I mean, her tower is in Edgewater.
But we don't want to go to Edgewater, correct?
At all. If I have my way, then we have this conversation, and depending on how it goes and what happens after, this ship heads
Could
southwest.
Scoil deliver the message for us? She can go to Edgewater.
I mean, it's her home.
That's her home.
Wait, I thought, aren't we going?
So we can't go to Edgewater because there's a Rakshasa waiting there for us, probably.
I have the assumption that my family, regardless of the fact that I've lied to them about not finding the tower or going to the tower, I'm operating under the assumption that they know by some means that we were there and that we know.
I mean, we also were carrying a ship with your cousin's bodies on it, so...
Right. The response I got back asking for an update was from Parsival, the youngest of the sisters, and she is the companion of the Rakshasa, and they're the family hunters. So whether it's some low-level thug or several or them themselves, I have a feeling that someone from the family is going to be waiting for us in Edgewater. So
What would their aim be if they were?
the kind version, the way this usually goes, is catch and be brought back. That's either just me and the old man, or all of us. The unkind version is they kill who they don't need, and they enslave and torture the ones they do. I don't think there's going to be a lot of, like, chummy negotiation happening. And my station in the family isn't high enough to really...
Plus, they already killed your cousins to make one of these towers happen. We don't know whether or not they were involved in our tower. I think we need to get to these other towers before they do.
Yeah.
Or we could always just, do what we can to slow them down by heading them off.
Conflict, fighting. Elenthar's got a terrifyingly high success rate. Frankly, very surprised that he came from my father and didn't succeed. Do I think we're up for it? Sure. But
So he didn't succeed with your father. And we just faced off 9 riders that have decimated many towns, including my own, and survived. And we also survived the tower up north.
the question that I'm posing...
And we've got a bunch of potential allies on the ship who
Sure.
do also have a vested interest in getting out of Edgewater alive.
is not can we, it's should we. And at the moment, I'm doing what little bit I can to at least keep the ruse of my compliance to the family order somewhat. I haven't...
Let's be honest, though, Feder, if they're anything like you, they know it's a ruse.
Right. Well, we all know that it's always a ruse most of the time. That's pretty much the entire way most of the Hells operates.
So what's going to really throw them off is if you behave honestly.
And just show up.
I mean, it's a thought. We have a bunch of people that have beat a bunch of these people before. Taz isn't wrong.
I also don't feel like running from Edgewater is necessarily a needed thing.
It gives us a chance to report back to Golotha, another ally in Edgewater, to tell her both what we found in the tower and, like Yusuf said, to tell her about the gnomes, because they could help us.
But if
Helps them politically to know.
But if our end is to redirect this ship off its current path to Skypoint, this gives us all the justification to do so.
It's true. Also,
Wait, why are we redirecting the ship?
We don't want to go to Skypoint.
We don't have to go to Skypoint, but the ship can continue.
To Yusuf's point, I think he's got a vested interest in this Dominion War now that they've seen fit to decimate his hometown, so...
the gnomes weren't just idly taken. The technology they have and their ability to create new is something that I'm sure the war effort needs in the Dominion.
Especially if they're interested in a ship like this.
Right.
Oh, trust me, the Dominion has nothing but negative intentions for anything.
Right.
I don't trust them, and as far as I can throw them, and I can't throw them at all because, Dominion. But
So-
either way, like, the ship is relatively useless without some key components.
Right, but they have schematics to be able to make this kind of technology, and I
So
would rather
they-
see that go to Trost instead of
I'm telling you,
Dominion.
they can have the schematics of the ship, but without key components, it will not fly.
With the gnomes working on it, they can find a way around it.
We also,
Or create a replacement for what is missing.
if our options are, tip our hats when we get to Edgewater and then try to get across a swamp and a desert and a mountain to get to Lace's people, or traveling in relative style. I'm just trying to Occam's razor the best, truest result for all of these things.
No, I agree. I mean, if we wanted to not go to Edgewater, Yosef is down there with his boat. We could drop Skoil off with her, give her a message to give to Galatha, and then we could just turn and head south, minus the 10-hour trip.
This is all dependent on getting Horatio and crew to agree to that.
It's true.
It does sound like a good plan,
I know that I can't do anything to help the gnomes right now by myself.
but this
And-
could help them. It's information that could help them.
Exactly. As much as it pains me, heading south seems like the better option. I think that what the four of us are tied to is either bigger, or in the long run it might be tied to this war in some way also, who knows. But I think finding information on it is probably the best cause, while giving what loose alliance we have with Trost, just from the small time we were there,
I mean,
You
information.
call that an alliance?
Loose in the sense that they didn't throw us in the bottom of an endless jail for the rest of eternity, so.
Exactly. They believed us, they set us free. They seem honorable.
That does not count as an alliance.
I said whatever sort of tentative alliance we would have with Trost. I'm not calling them allies. I'm saying that
And even if we're not allied with Trost, I do think it's safe to say Galatha is an ally, correct?
I mean, she sent us here.
She has a vested interest in us surviving this and in learning about more towers.
I agree.
Okay.
Guys,
I
what do
know you do not want to go to Skypoint, correct, Taz?
I don't know what to say here, so
There's no good answer.
And we are going to ask some part of this crew, theoretically, to disagree very openly with the other part, so I feel like the four of us need to be unified before we do anything. I mean, I think we're relatively in agreement. Look, if you want us to fly this ship into the middle of Skypoint and go look for your family, we'll fucking do it.
I don't want us to fly this ship at all.
Why?
What is the point of, like, we had a plan to go to Edgewater and let them continue on and we would go our way?
No, it just gets us there faster, I think, staying on the ship.
And it keeps the ship out of Dominion hands.
And us not having to deal with swamp and desert and mountains.
And
If-
politics.
If you want to convince Horatio and the crew to change their course, be my guest. I'm all for telling Horatio that Skypoint is not a viable option. I have half a mind to go do that myself right now. However, that's entirely about convincing them.
I think they'll be amenable to it, though. They seem like the least bad people we've met so far. Is that fair? Even your dad, Feder, he seems all right.
Yeah, he has his moments, but yeah.
I've already planted that seed in Horatio's head that the Dominion might not be the best choice for them, considering what happened with the gnomes and what is happening here, which he says he has no real knowledge of the politics of what's going on. So I feel like if we savvy him to that, he might feel the same way.
Well, I feel like my next move is to talk to Dad, let him know what I know. I have a feeling he'll have a response.
I mean, he's the first mate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to
mean-
Dad, talk to Horatio, talk to Skoil, have her deliver this message.
Let's
Yeah?
try that. What do you think?
Sure, if that's what you want to do.
Well-
What do you want to do?
I just think there are far too many moving parts. And we continually decide on a plan and then change the plan, and talking about going south and then talking about stopping off at Trost. Like, they are two completely different directions.
Well, I don't think
We're not stopping at Trost anymore. I think that's off the table.
Yeah.
It's just about making sure we get a message to Galatha so that Trost can help the gnomes. And I think we figured out that loophole by getting Scoil back home.
Assuming they would even decide to go and make that war.
They're already at war.
Yeah, but why would they go help the gnomes because of people that they arrested and kicked out of their city told them to?
Galatha asked us for information, and we're giving her information.
Important information that could help Yusuf's friends and keep technology out of Dominion hands. Something Trost has a vested interest in.
Yep.
Sure.
And then we continue heading south. More tower shit. So we're still on course. And now we have a ship.
You guys don't have to convince me.
Yes, we do.
We kind of do, though, Tess.
If that's what you want to do, fine. I still say there's too many moving parts, but that's what you want to do, so that's fine.
Well, at the very least, we can stay on the ship as far south as they want to go and then hop off if we need to.
Or kill them all and steal it.
What? No.
It's like an option.
No, it's not. What is... He looks around again. What is wrong with you?
I mean...
Nothing.
Green.
Queen,
Look,
help me, but I'm agreeing with Yusuf. It's not an option.
look, at the very least... it's a ride. They seem to be interested in just taking out these riders, and if they're hunting you, or at least trying to find you for information, it means they might show up again. So I think they might be okay with having us on board just to make that a possibility.
They won't show up again. You guys made me put the ring on.
Right, but... I mean,
Do you not want to have the ring on, Tess?
That was not at all part of my comment. I'm just... If
You said-
we're going to use it as... If we are going to offer them to use me as bait, I cannot be wearing this ring.
well, no, it's not... We don't even know they were tracking you mentally. They attacked you mentally. I don't think they were tracking your thoughts.
I don't know if Taslin knows that the ring also protects people from being found. Like, because like it shields thoughts and then it also protects somebody from being scryed on.
She might not know that immediately off the top of her head.
Okay.
Or at least that doesn't quite occur in the scheme of things. You're like, because that could be a natural like assumption that, oh, maybe it does. Let's test it. But I guess for sake of this, you haven't tested it, so you're still not sure.
I'm just saying, we don't know how they found you.
Yeah.
No.
But either way, like the party made an assumption that the ring would protect me from them in the future. So
At least
protect you from like the guy saying something in your head,
Voices
trying
into
to
your head.
bore himself into your brain.
I'm not saying that's going to protect Taslin in perpetuity from all whatevers, but
Well, especially the whatevers.
yeah. I don't know, Taz. I really need something from you. If you want us to do something different, we'll do it, but...
she puts her head in her hands.
Do you see another path? One that makes sense?
I don't know why we essentially need to derail or force other people to go along on our path. Like, yes, it would be helpful, but at the same time, we can easily just give them information. And if they want to help us, that's one thing. But if they want to keep going on to Skypoint, that's also Horatio's decision.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
it's just
right.
right
We're
now
not
we're
gonna-
trying to avoid landing in Edgewater where there's a Rakshasa probably waiting to kill us. If they don't go along with it, we fight the Rakshasa and we continue on south. But if we have an opportunity to not do that and make some friends and not kill them all and steal their ship, we're fine.
We're not going to kill them all and steal their ship.
Probably not.
Mostly not.
Yusuf just looks between the two of you. It's like, what the... And he looks at Taz, is like, are you and I like in complete agreement on something? Is that what's happening?
Unfortunately, yes.
So I think the plan for right now is just to talk to Fetter's dad and to talk to Horatio. And if that doesn't go anywhere, we just get off in Edgewater, right?
Yeah.
Plans back on. Otherwise,
Sounds fine.
plans on and we have a ship.
Great.
All right.
I'm going to talk to Dad.
All right, who's going first to talk to who?
I'm going to go talk to Drago first.
Yeah.
All right. You find him pretty easily enough. He's chilling towards the front of the ship, leaning against the mast, and you hear him just sort of hum singing as you walk up. To a pirate's love and devil's choice.
Yep.
As he's humming along the bar to the song. He doesn't notice you.
Hey, Pop.
Hi. He sniffs a little bit.
Sorry about all that.
No.
It's been a weird couple days, yeah?
Insanely weird.
I tried to get word to her, in the ways that we know how to.
Through that journal thing or whatever?
Yeah, but it's in the cipher, and at least wanted her to know, It's been a big question mark. You gotta realize I knew in my heart that you were out there somewhere, but...
It just feels like, out of all the choices I make, I could apologize. I could say that I made the worst decision ever. I could give excuses too. I don't know. It shook me seeing you there on the tower. I never thought I would see you, the real you, again.
Yeah. You too. It was weird timing.
Insanely weird.
Yeah. And
I was getting on board with killing a bunch of devils that didn't belong, and then I see you on the tower.
Yeah. But to that end, that, as much shit as I give you, and as much there's just old, unresolved stuff there, and a lot of anger, but, all I really want is, you and her together being able to live out the promise of that song.
Yeah.
She's stuck, man. She's just there. And you and I both know that as much as there are more congenial parts of the family, there are those that were always a little annoyed that she wasn't cast deep into the pit 10 years ago when you guys went back.
Pop's better fucking apologize or I'm hitting him over the head with something.
But to that end, some ways, we're on our own deal, and I was kind of taken out of service by some unknown force that we're trying to investigate, but for all intents and purposes, the family, one way or the other, still thinks I'm working for them. So I have it on pretty good authority that Parzival is going to come looking for me. And I think she's going to try to meet me in Edgewater. With Melanthar or not, who knows, but...
So you think we're heading toward danger?
Very much so. And to that end, I think Yusuf and some things that we were made aware of, if we're ranking danger, I think the family's being back on their radar is a terrible thing, A. And
yeah.
B, I think we've grown to... We were never truly too interested in the politics of the realm. Recently, the Dominion has struck out in force to his people, to his family. And I think they want tech, they want war machines, and I think flying this thing right to Skypoint is not great. We have things we need, we have places we need to go. There's more towers, and each of those towers could have any sort of a ticking time bomb death machine in the middle of it. Where were you in the new year?
On the ship?
Out at sea, I'm assuming?
Technically, yes.
Did you hear of, I don't know how often you get to port, the earthquake, the green flash in the sky, any of that?
Saw something faint in the distance.
Yeah. That was the junior version of the tower we just left, the tower that 100 years ago shattered half a continent.
The bodies we brought on board.
Mm-hmm. Long lost family. Yep. So...
Fuck. As we both say fuck, he goes in for an unexpected hug. Do you rebuff this?
Put a hand up.
He stops.
Business first, Dad. Please. Come on, man.
And sure, with my wrist tense to flick a dagger out of my sleeve into my hand, I'll go in for the Christian side hug.
The Christian side hug?
Yeah.
I know it's been tough, man.
I'm just gonna say it. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's all I have.
Yeah. I know, Dad. I sat on that dock, man, for 3:10 day, waiting for you to show up.
Took me more than that to stop imagining that's what happened.
I know. But
And the excuse doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter the stakes. I could have just said fuck him. I probably should have just said fuck him. No offense to the family, but they could use a little rebellion,
yeah.
friction.
To that end, yeah.
I heard what you've said, and looks like we're heading for some shit.
Yeah.
And you want us to change our course.
I think there's a lot at play here. and land in Edgewater, and we just might have to carve our way out of it.
I see.
I couldn't rest in the knowledge that I know. Because, yeah, he's a boogeyman. He's always been a boogeyman. It's all that exists in the family. Like, you don't think I haven't the last month of my life been looking over my shoulder? So I don't want to be the tiefling who cried Melanthar,
But he is a force.
yeah.
It's only stupid fucking luck that we got him.
How did you manage?
For whatever reason, the disguise broke for but a moment. And I thought as quickly as we could. I thought it's just something desperate to try. And when I had a crew, we all worked together and we killed him.
Yeah. To that end, are you okay with all this first mate stuff, man? It's just, it's really weird to me. I'm trying to get to know the captain better. I'm sorry I threw a dagger at his head, but it just, when you
If I weren't shitting my pants, I probably would have laughed at that.
Yeah,
It is weird.
you're the captain, man. Like, you're the captain.
Yes, and, someday I might take this mantle back. I think for now, the biggest thing is the break. Not having to be blamed for anyone's death, any mishap, or to have to carry the weight of other lives, since you see how well that worked out for me.
Yeah. The whole crew, huh?
The whole crew. Skill and Octo is no joke.
I'll pull out my flask and pour a little out and hand it to him and take a drink too. And
Takes a long swig.
yeah,
I had to watch everything.
I'm sure.
As you know, that is how they do. That's how any vile person will do it.
Yeah.
And it's effective. But I broke bread with them all, and a lot of them saw you as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
They dealt with your shit, your shenanigans. Thankfully, some small consolation. That one friend of yours wasn't with us.
Oh, good.
They didn't have to deal with it.
Well, that's something.
It's the little things.
Yeah.
He takes another swig.
Well, what do you think, Pop? You think...
I can put a word in. I can echo the sentiment to not go to Skypoint. Although the Edgewater thing might be a harder one, just because of the way our ship works.
If anything, I just want to make sure that you all and my band are all prepared. And if the ship needs to touch down and refuel or whatever, I understand. I just want us all to collectively be ready.
That does make sense. You always thought about stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll put a word in.
All right.
I can echo the sentiment.
Yusuf and Lisa might go speak to him as well, but you should mention something first, and we'll go, if that's fine.
Sure. He starts to walk away and then turns around again. Do you think... Fuck. Do you think she would even... Do you think she even...
Yeah, of course, Dad. I don't know if she's redecorated since you left, but... the tower is the ship, and she just paces the deck. It's all she ever wanted. You're all she ever wanted, and... She's just stuck, Dad. She's just stuck. And that's the part that makes me angry. Not at you, not at them. At all of you, maybe, I don't know, but...
That last one, probably. We deserve it.
Yeah, but she deserves better. But of course she would.
Well, maybe someday,
Yeah,
when you
maybe.
trust me enough, we can do something about it. Maybe.
Maybe.
Is security still as tight down there in Dis?
Yeah. It's a fucking nightmare.
Fuck. Yeah.
Bureaucratic bullshit, top to bottom, but...
Thankfully, that was one thing we could give you. A key straight to it.
Yeah,
To go as you please.
it's true. For me, at least, this would go a long way if Horatio can listen to a bit of reason, and he said himself when we talked to him that he doesn't know much about the politics of this continent, and if he could be amenable to some part of it, then that would go a long way, you know what I mean?
Indeed. That is something for a person like him.
Yeah. Alright, well, I'm gonna get back to it, and...
Neutral people aren't truly neutral. You make a decision one way or another.
Sure.
I will go talk to him. Or at least I will roll the carpet out, so to speak.
Yeah. Thanks, Pop. I appreciate it.
He does this awkward thing where he turns, he moves forward a little bit towards you, but then stops again, then stops and then turns around and nods to himself like he's convincing himself of something, and he slowly walks away.
I'm gonna make him earn it. Turn around, dude.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and he makes his way into the captain's quarters. While that conversation was happening, Yusuf, you were headed to try and talk to the...
Yeah, I'll head and try to talk to Horatio. And
I'll go with him.
Okay.
Do you guys want me to come with? I promise I won't kill the whole crew.
then yes.
Tail swear.
Yeah. Boop.
Oh my God. Anyone listening, can you please fan art that? Just the two of
tail
them
boop.
doing
The tail boop?
Yeah.
Tail
like
boops?
It's like the pinky
swear,
promise, but it's
but
with
it's
the
a tail
tails.
boop.
I love it.
All right, so we're all going together then, or?
You're with your dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're still kind of in the midst of that awkwardness.
Oh, are we parallel pathing? We weren't going to wait for him to come back from...
Or maybe you did. Maybe you just
My idea was that
I thought we waited for him to talk to Drago first.
Drago was gonna plant
Well,
the seed,
then
and then
both of you need to tail swear.
tail swear what? Tailspin?
No
Launchpad
killing.
McQuack?
No killing.
No killing the crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No killing the crew.
Tail boop.
Tail swear.
Do it.
Tail swear.
Boop.
Boop. Boop.
Boop, Feder.
Roll for
Yeah,
boop.
I'm booping. It's an 18 deception check, but
Insight that bitch. I'll give you advantage.
I only got a 17.
19 on the die, you motherfucker.
I'm not gonna kill any of the crew. I promise.
Then boop your tail.
Inside is 21.
Yeah. So I'm
22
not. No,
actually.
I'm not gonna murder. I'm not gonna murder any of the crew. I'm not gonna murder any of the crew.
Okay.
All three of our tails are joined in the middle, and yours is not.
And at that moment, Drago comes out with Horatio, and they just look at this tail thing.
And I'm
I swear
trying
they're not that weird.
If the three are wrapped together, I'm trying to bring mine up from the bottom.
Of course you are.
Just like penetrate
That
the
tickles.
triad.
That tickles.
It's like boop 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 boop.
Okay. Oh, hi.
All right, shall we convene to the galley? Drago guides you guys over to the galley, and Horatio follows. You also see Vanessa coming up, and Drago also nods to her. Come on in. And you guys sit around the table, and as you guys enter in there, you see Cadence just chowing down, and Drago says, "Scoot the fuck away." And she's like, "Fine." She takes her food with her, crams it into both her hands, and just jets.
Does she leave the room or does she just sit down at a further table?
No, she leaves the room and goes all the way down, like to the bow, and just sits there and like, and then just eats.
So I know she can't hear me, but I'm also like, keep going.
Do you whisper that under your breath, like sneakily, or
Yeah.
or
I'm
do you want to?
No, I'm straight up. Just keep going.
I don't understand. I
Drago laughs.
Yeah. Why?
I just like flash. I just
don't
like
get it.
I just like flash you a look that says, "I don't understand, but I do." So
He doesn't get what the tension is, but he laughs because it's like they give each other shit. All right, Captain. These folks here would like to suggest some alternate plans. Why don't you hear what they have to say? The gift turns his attention. There's a long moment where Horatio doesn't say anything, and one of you are about to cut in when he just says, "I will not crash this ship into a mountain."
What?
Okay, we weren't gonna ask you to do that.
Glad to hear.
Drago's like, "Jokes. We'll have to work on that." Phew, fine. So, state your case.
We want you to turn the car around.
no, and
What the fuck is a car?
Yeah. And I'm keeping like even with the bad attempted humor, like a completely straight face.
Oh, no, yeah, don't give it to him.
Yeah.
That's how you tell a joke. Just saying.
I have it under fairly good authority that some cadre of representatives from my family will probably be waiting for us in Edgewater, including the Rakshasa that made my dad and my life pretty miserable over the last couple of years. Similarly, we've come into some information regarding the king. I believe Yusuf mentioned it to you, where they're essentially committing war crimes to try to get new technology for their own civil war. We would like to entreat you to bypass Edgewater. I understand that being that you had to set the ship down to make some repairs, that there might not be an infinite energy resource that this runs on that may need to be replenished. However, but I believe that it would be in everyone's best interest to subvert expectations a bit. Bypass Edgewater. We have places we need to go, and I believe that you could find some like-minded allies in the Vroge Day. Ultimately, that would be, I think, a safe course of action for you. We'd have more time together, share what we know about the riders.
But that's bigger picture. I think for the immediate moment, I just want you to be keenly aware of what could possibly face us in Edgewater and let you make an educated decision. If it's unavoidable, and I understand, and we'll try to bulwark ourselves, but it would be irresponsible of me to not share what I know, and at least entreat you to what we think is a better course of action.
I see.
Don't go to Skypoint, them be bitches.
The gift looks towards Vanessa. Do you have anything to add? She steps forward. I've only talked to the tiefling over there. I haven't talked to any of you guys yet. The situation with the gems as it is, we don't have many options immediately with where we can go. And you realize that she's not used to exactly having a full-on audience. She does some math, dancing her fingers along. And Feder, you notice heavy scarring on her hands. We're over halfway there to Edgewater at this point in time. To turn around and go back, we would essentially not even quite make it back to the tower. That would put the ship out for 4 days. Either way, we're out 4 days. And you mentioned that there's people waiting for us. We also can't just go straight to Edgewater because no one there has hopefully seen our ship. We'd have to land it somewhere, either in the water or in one of the channels, or I haven't looked at any of the maps. Horatio speaks up. Yes, there appears to be some places where we could land outside of the area, but the point remains that we are low enough on supplies that we couldn't survive going any other direction. We would have to resort to foraging. And for a crew of this size, he pauses for a while. If what you say is true, we would have to find a way to get the supplies we need, and we could make repairs a distance away from the city. Would that be sufficient? Would that be something that we could do to escape notice?
Yeah, certainly.
The question I would have for you, who brings this to our attention, I have not gotten your name or do not remember it. I apologize deeply. I know that we were not on good terms in the beginning.
You can just call me Feder.
Feder, would this group looking for you and my first mate, do they know any details? Would there be any reason to suspect that what we're flying in would be where you are? Or would they assume... He looks to Drago, and Drago pipes up. I think what you're trying to say is, would they assume that we are in a flying ship versus just a regular seafaring vessel? That we might be in the channels or something? To that extent, yes.
The perpetual ruse that I've kept with my family to try to keep them at bay is that we're traveling by nothing but conventional means now. As a family that specializes in secrets and has information, I always assume that they know more than that they should know. I mean, if they know that the old man is, on a skyship, then they could possibly be factoring that into their calculations. I've only told them of myself, and they've only told,
I will point out that we sent 3 of those riders back to the Hells. If there's been an information exchanged, I don't know how fast word travels there, but they could put 2 and 2 together probably pretty easily.
And who knows what any of them would share to whom for what value.
How long did it take us to get out here on Yosef's boat?
3 days. It was a day and a half on the boat.
And then a day and a half walking, yeah, about that.
So hypothetically, we could land now, and we could hop on the boat when it catches up and take that in, if we wanted to keep this ship a secret. If we have to go back.
Well, I'm assuming, do you have smaller galley boats or rowboats that you use to get into shore?
Drago nods. Yeah, we have a couple that we can use for means like this. In a situation like this, we wouldn't land there anyways. It's a new continent.
Sure.
And we've been fortunate enough so far to be flying above the storms and dealing with that. Downside being the issue we had with one of the gems.
But it's proper seaworthy, though, the vessel?
Yes. It only becomes an issue when we have to charge the stones. Right, Vanessa? Blood has to be applied directly to it. Yes. So we have to have some means to get under the ship. Yeah.
So you got a dry dock.
Yeah. We'd have to dry dock for recharging. So it's complicated for landing in this situation. But we do have enough rowboats to take a few of you down. Probably all of you if you need. Or if there's anyone you can send ahead or something. The point being, we don't have enough to even get to Skypoint if that's where we're still going. Drago gives a hand like, hold on a second, to Horatio. If that's even where we're going, we need enough to feed the crew.
Sure.
We're low on that.
So some sort of expedition would have to go into the town anyway
Correct.
And whether Drago and I go or don't go is,
And then the issue we come across is if anyone of any power or influence catches wind, we'd have to dance around that. Horatio, if you let me, maybe a first crew or some like a scouting crew can go down and just scope out. Do you guys have any relations in Edgewater?
Yes, we do. There are a few merchants and a few other folks that
Anyone who would be a safe haven or who could, I don't know how I would refer to this,
resupply
or soften the blow of having a big ship supplying or something.
Golotha might be able to help,
She's not there, though.
but we can get into her tower because we're friends.
It's true. Wait.
And there's the half-orc, right? We could probably get supplies from...
Yes, she's cool. And, I mean, of course, Yosef. And Skoil can help us as well. She's from the town, our guide.
Oh, the elf you have with you.
Yes.
Is there any place... Could we make it north of the town and touch down in water and then sail into town from the north instead of the south?
But I think that still doesn't... the ship needs to land on terra firma proper for the recharging of the crystals.
Right. What I mean is we could sail out of town and then put it on land and recharge then. But we could sail into town, resupply, then that's taken care of. If it's seaworthy, we don't have to come in from the sky. We can come in on water and leave on water.
Yeah, I think
Especially
it
if
just,
they're looking for an airship.
just adds time.
That's true.
Whereas if we can get them recharging at least, we can probably shave a day off of however long we're sitting ducks wherever this thing is.
Captain Horatio, I would plead the case that Skypoint is not where you want to go.
You mentioned this before. Do you mind the company here to explain your case? Do you wish privacy?
No, not at all.
Then everyone can stay. He nods to you. I defer to you in this moment.
He says, when I came to this land, I was sheltered and given a home by the gnomes of Dagnarus. It was a secluded community. They had glamours and safeguards so that the Dominion couldn't find them, because the Dominion wanted them and they wanted their technology. They were very tech-savvy inventors, craftsmen. I found a home there. I was given a place, and from the information that I've gathered, the city was sacked 2 days ago. Everyone was taken captive and or killed because of this war and Skypoint's need of their technology. I'm sure that they're going to have them trying to work on some type of war machine to help them further their cause. The schematics that you mentioned, I would prefer not to fall into their hands.
Horatio leans back, and he thinks for a minute.
Much like your own village, it was sacked and...
Obliterated. Everyone killed.
I feel as though these are not people you want to deal with. I have an alternative.
That's fair. You have an alternative.
Well, you were looking to try and get some money for these plans, and you said you didn't really care who got them. I feel like maybe now you do. The City of Trust, we have history with. It's not good history, but it's not bad history either. Things happened when we were in town. It was set to judgment, and we were able to leave, but we're not able to come back to the town while our problem is still in the air, because they do not want the destruction for the city or its inhabitants, which I completely understand. That being said, the city's mage, I would call her an ally. She allowed us to come to Edgewater to continue our journey and investigation. I feel like the possibility of the want of your technology could be there. She asked us to gather information, and I know that she is greatly concerned with the war, as Trost is the other side of the war. I would much prefer it go to their hands to possibly eventually help my people that were taken.
Interesting. Now, when we were invited to the Dominion, we were invited to the presence of the king. And part of why I didn't hesitate was to get a measure of this man. And from the way you're speaking, and if you want to do a persuasion roll.
17.
17? It sounds like he doesn't measure to much of a man at all. And it sounds like if he is able to sack an entire city and claim its inhabitants, he might not have need of our tool set. What makes you think then that these people of trust are worth it. What is their measure? Because we could just turn around and fuck off.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Their measure is only from what I have seen, which has been just, if not heavy-handed. It is a city ruled and inhabited mostly in the upper reaches by Aasimar, and they are, well, they're a bit...
Vanessa pipes up. A little bit more old-fashioned, a little bit strict.
Strict, yeah, that's a word. They put on a lot of airs, and while it's annoying, they do seem to be intellectual and just.
Horatio adds, if we gave our technology to one side or the other, would the war continue for perpetuity, or would it end?
I don't have an answer for that.
Why get involved in a war that you don't need to be in? Why give it to either side? Correct me if I'm wrong, but Vanessa, if you're not here, then this technology doesn't work.
I mean, for now, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, you saw what little you were able to do with just a little bit of blood from your hand, so it's not a forbidden art that only I have access to. But, I mean, you do have a good point. It would take a while. We could just move on, continue our hunt, but, I mean, Drago pipes up. There's also the idea of resources. I get it. Contracts and making do. I'm sorry, I can't have revenge without resource. The gift pipes up. We will halt our plans for Skypoint for now. And as we recharge our ship, I will think on this. You said your name was...
Yusuf.
If you could get us, me specifically, Horatio says, a meeting with this person, this Galatha, I would very much like to see what their deal is.
I'll see what I can do.
I'm going to just ear for deceit.
Yeah.
5 becomes an 8, which goes back to
Advantage?
17. That's fine. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it's still 17.
You get the sense that Horatio is working on some... There's a little bit of a selfish aim to give this stuff away, and Drago must be at least familiar with this, because he pipes up. We don't have to give them anything. Anyone anything. I know you want to be the ender of wars. I'm sorry. No, that is fine. I selfishly... If one side would finish the war and be done with it, I'm for that. I come from a realm of... That's all we are, is war.
That's all people are. That's part of living in a world governed by politics.
But could not eventually those who obliterate each other just be gone? Like, couldn't we just...
No, because more will come in their place. It is part of the order. It's not an abomination of the order. War is sort of part of the mechanics of society. Now, if you decide not to take the ship anywhere, listen to my pitch. I've got a bunch of people that are really smart like me, that think like you, down in the south, near where we're trying to go. So I'm just saying, there could be more friends for you if we just forget all the politics. Eh?
He smiles. I will think on that.
Cool. I think you'd really like them.
He pauses.
That being said, if a war is to be won, I would rather not have tyrants on the winning side. Especially since my people have been taken.
Vanessa, she leans forward. I mean, that is a good point. I think maybe it's... I mean, maybe we just see what happens when we get close to this Edgewater. Maybe see what's going on. I get that it's complicated, and I don't necessarily understand all things with war and peace and the need for it and the order of things, but I do like what these people have presented. If not turning to the south, stepping back. The gift nods. I will take this under consideration. We're not too far from our destination. I would suggest it is... He counts in his head. 4 or 5-ish in the morning. We'll be due to Edgewater fairly soon, and then we'll have to figure out how we're going to approach collecting supplies. I think Edgewater can't be avoided, but maybe we can avoid muddling in things we don't have a reason to muddle in. And he stands up.
Thank you, Captain.
And he nods and coughs. You all will have to leave this room first before I can get out.
He's got a real thing about that, yeah?
Very well.
All right, very well.
I think he just doesn't want to squish us.
Yeah.
Drago laughs. Yeah, it's a personal space thing. Drago heads out, nods. Vanessa nods. Interesting stuff.
Progress! The Dominion really sucks. And if they get a ship like that, well, they'd suck even worse. Anyway, I see we've got no more ale in this stinking city, so I must be off. Hey, Get on that, won't you? If you do, I promise I'll be back with more awesome tales from these Demon Days.
What's up?
Yeah.
No, I didn't actually have
Sup, bros? What's up, tweens? What's up, cops?
Yeah. Hello, fellow children. This is a faster way of going our way, though.
There we go.
Sorry, that was the skyship alarm.
Proximity alert.
Approaching the halfway point.
Should probably go with that one again.
Okay, yes.
I gotta pee. Does anyone want anything? Hold up.
To kill everyone on the ship. No, I'm just kidding.
Shipwide murder. Except for Vanessa, who we just strap to one of the masts and apply leeches to.
And the Genasi.
And the Genasi.
It was so hard for me when Yusuf was like, oh, well, the gnomes can replicate it, and the whole, like, they'll have the schematics for the ship, and me just, like, wanting to be like, let's just kidnap Vanessa, and then the ship's pointless. Like, it was so hard for me not to, like, just...
We murder Vanessa.
No, we kidnap her!
No.
No murdering, kidnapping.
So,
Just until we figure it out.
Yeah.
And then we can kill her and use our blood.
No!
What?
No murdering Vanessa.
Murder
We can murder Cadence.
Oh, yeah, of course. She can go first.
look, we promised the people an all tiefling party doing tiefling shit. And I think, you know,
Yes,
the occasional
exactly.
murder spree,
I just...
it's
like,
bound to happen.
Like orgy, then mutiny, okay? Just let me
Mutant
do-
orgy? Orgy.
No, mutant
No.
orgy sounds good.
Yeah,
Has a flow to it.
sure.
I'm gonna go.
Or an orgiony.
Start doing some stretches, drink some water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taps would tap Vanessa for sure.
Yeah, I think for all of us, though, collectively as a party, Yusuf aside, it's more of like, who wouldn't we? I think that's really more the issue. Being like, yeah, like any situation.
Amazingly, out of everybody on the ship, Vanessa's the only one that Taslin's interested in.
Well, there you go. Sure. So I'll go talk to Drago.
Sure.
I'm gonna unwrap my
Drago.
tail a little bit and then like
I kind of raised my hand.
sneak
Like,
it
look, you
in
guys got
Fenris
here
front
late,
and
okay?
be like
Don't worry about
right
it.
in the erogenous zone, be like tail swear.
Yeah, I'll wrap it around there.
Interesting.
We're making prehensile penises for tiefling canon. No, we're not. No, we're not. No,
This
we're
is
not.
like
No, we're
some
not.
Avatar bullshit.
There's a lot of
it's
hair
gonna
on
be.
the end, but not like where it should be, but like on the it looks like a feather duster. No, I'm
What
just
is
kidding.
wrong with your tail?
I mean,
that
mine
looked
does have tufts of hair at the end.
She does have
Like,
a tuft. Yeah, mine.
I don't
doesn't.
have the
Mine's very
point.
smooth. I have a smooth point.
Mine definitely has hair on it.
Yeah, I'll
Look
boop
at my
whatever
legs.
snoot you want to boop. Booped.
and for a while you think,
Hey, horrible kobold, quiet.
Is there a kobold on the below deck? Because it is pissed.
yeah. There's
Abby, stop.
There's a...
Hush. Stop. You want to go to the bedroom?
She's looking.
Stop it.
She's looking directly
Hush.
at Drew while she's making these
All
noises.
right, go to the bedroom. Go on.
Oh.
Go on.
Bedroom is her timeout.
I don't know if you've looked at the Instagram feed, but our dog is fucking adorable, and just the look that she gives me, it's so hard to overcome. Get in there.
You shit.
She's acting like a straight up
Get out of
teenager
bed.
right now.
Oh boy.